You're tuned to Once Upon a Fairy Tale.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Once Upon a Fairy Tale, the podcast. If you're listening to this on iTunes or SoundCloud, just note that there is a YouTube version you can catch on the DisneyDwayne YouTube channel. Yes, that's my name. And of course, you want to see the lovely Tim Hughes, who is my guest today. So hop onto YouTube. Welcome, Tim, to the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It's been amazing. Tim was in Frozen. Is in Frozen. I caught it last night, and so this is very fresh. And I would say this is an exclusive interview. So thank you so much again for coming on.
Thanks for coming to the show.
How many interviews have you done so far? Is this the first? Probably not.
Right? No, I think this is about the third or fourth, specific to Frozen.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Let's first talk about the music. I know they're releasing one song
Another one today. Actually.
Another one today.
Yeah.
Right.
And I believe What Do You Know About Love is being released on Friday.
Right, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Are you in any of the
new songs?
The video? Are they all going to be video clips? You know, like how?
Yeah, I believe there's two. I believe there's one more video and two audio.
Two audio and one more video. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is the next one a video clip?
No. This coming Friday is audio, right. And then I believe video, and then I believe audio.
Right. Mm-hmm. Will we see you in any of them?
No.
Okay.
The videos are the new songs don't feature my character, so right. I'm in a song that was from the movie.
Right,
yeah,
right.
So they know that song. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Which, by the way, that song, Fixer Upper.
Yeah.
Not to give away too many spoilers or anything, but like I really love what they did with it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. They changed it up quite a bit. In fact,
definitely.
Flavor of the song is amazing. What else? So have you recorded the cast album already?
No, I believe it is scheduled. We don't know the date, but it will probably be within the next couple of months. Mm-hmm. I would think that it will be available probably summertime.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we heard Casey sing is, I would imagine, the pop version of Monster, and like the cast album would probably feature a different, more theatrical version.
All the songs will be re-recorded for the cast album.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So this is like a separate release that probably will be a bonus track, maybe.
Separate release, probably bonus track. In the video, it goes a little bit more poppy.
Yeah, I noticed
style.
That it wasn't like that. She didn't sing like that in the musical at all.
Yeah.
Right.
She sticks to the page a little bit more.
She does. Yeah. Okay. So that's all about music. The next one I want to ask you is about merchandise. Which you are
featuring
right now.
Denver Frozen merchandise.
So guys, the merchandise is different from the Denver run as compared to the one on Broadway. So this is like, hang on to your shirt and your mouth because it's going to be exclusive. Yeah. But it's doing really well. I hear merchandise is like it's broken all records for any Broadway show.
Which is amazing.
That's crazy.
It's been a week.
It's only been a week, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of, I would say now you've worked for Disney like 2 times in just the last year, with Frozen, and of course you were also in The Greatest Showman, 20th Century Fox, and that's been bought over by Disney. Would you say working for Disney is different to working with other companies? Are they stricter? You know, like even with this interview, I've interviewed other actors about Disney, and it seems to be they're pretty open about outside interviews. I mean, like you guys are briefed on what to say and what you can't say, and how open you can be and all that.
I mean, I think 20th Century Fox was not under Disney when I worked for them, so I didn't really get that feel from doing the movie. But yeah, I'm assuming the merging is still taking place.
It is. It's going to take another 3 years for a lot of things to happen.
Yeah, but the talks are all in place.
Yeah.
Negotiations are all in place. But as far as working for Disney on like a theatrical level in this atmosphere, it's unique because it's a corporation,
right?
As your producer, and instead of individual producers who are on board, so above all of the artistry and everything that the producers bring to the table, there's a whole set of corporate structure and corporate rules and things that exist that you enter into as an employer of Disney, which is great. I mean, We have to learn a lot of that and abide by a lot of that. It's much bigger than us because we are representatives of Disney now, and employers,
Right.
employees of.
So you would say
Disney.
you do get a different vibe and a different feel of this big corporation sort of, family structure.
For sure, yeah.
Right.
It's the bonus side of it is that it's stable.
Yeah.
There's so much stability. There's so many people. You're fully supported by a large group of people, and they're very well versed in what they're doing.
Right.
Compared to individual producers who just are trying to get a show to Broadway.
Right.
And it takes some miracles. It takes less of that when it comes from something like Disney.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it normal that because for previews, Tim told me that they're not allowed to bring anybody backstage, so I'm pretty
Right.
bummed about that. I have to come back at some point.
Yes.
I always want to go backstage behind every Disney show. Is that a normal thing?
I'm
general,
not
for
sure.
previews?
I think
Like with Chaplin, was that?
no. We could bring people back for previews. I think specifically it's happening during previews to preserve the magic and
Right.
Disney magic. I don't think they want
Right.
to reveal anything. I think they're very cautious of things being caught on a backstage photo that's going to show up online. So I think if and hopefully when they do open that policy up,
Right.
that there might be rules regarding that on what can be
I'm
shown backstage, because there's a lot of there's wonderful Disney magic in
There
the show.
is so much Disney magic.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you guys to catch it. I'll review the musical in another episode, of course. But for now, moving on, talking about Pabbie. Pabbie.
Yeah, I think
It's a
originally
character.
because in the movie it's Grandpabbie, as in like grandfather. So that's
Right.
That's how we.
But you're nowhere close to
No, very
grandfather,
different.
So,
Very different.
So
Yes.
yeah, Tim's without his shirt, guys. Like he
Yeah.
is hunky Pabbie. So yeah, like with this character, now I've compared it to the Denver production, and I realized that there are changes. Like
Definitely.
the narration now is no longer Pabbie, but they've chosen it to be like the townsfolk, and they've taken a lot of the narration out.
Most of it is gone. Yeah.
Most of it is gone, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a pity, because like I was hoping to see more of you. Like at the end, I remember you were standing in that the podium that comes up.
Yes,
You're like
yes.
in the center of
Yeah.
it and everything. But why did you think they thought that Pabbie as a narrator didn't quite work as compared to just general narration? Or can you talk about it?
I'm not. I mean, I don't know the specifics of why all of the changes went into place. I think at the end of the day, they didn't think they needed an additional narration on top of telling the story. I think
right.
that people were understanding the story, and a lot of people understood the story going in.
Right.
So to add an additional layer of telling the story from a narration perspective
Right.
was not effective and started to feel a little redundant.
Right.
And I think there was a feeling that maybe the audience was a touch ahead of our storytelling
Because
So-
of the film, and they know so much
because of the
about
film. So they decided that that we're trying now in preview process and have been since the new script and going into rehearsal process this time around.
Yeah. Right.
We've tried it without narration completely.
Right.
And I think it works. I mean, I do think to the detriment of some of my stage time
Yeah.
for the character, but I do think that the actual structure works.
Right. Yeah, that
And
always
it's
happens.
still very solid.
Yeah, that always happens, I guess. Like, sometimes you get cuts and things like that. I remember I was in a scene with Susan Sarandon in background in Enchanted.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so happy, but it got cut because,
Yeah.
they felt it was redundant. So that kind of thing happens, when they make changes and stuff. But yeah,
But actually, the reason then, because the narration was cut, that's the reason I went into Fixer Upper. Because I was not in
we're
Fixer
not
Upper.
in Fixer Upper.
No.
Okay, so that's actually even better.
Yeah.
Because I really like you in Fixer Upper.
Me too,
Like,
thanks. Yeah.
the dancing and everything, such sharp moves, and then that tail. Tell us about that tail. Like, did it take time to work around it?
For sure.
Walking around backstage with, I can imagine the space. Like, Broadway theaters are smaller than
Yeah.
most theaters in the world, so.
I do what I call a tail tuck.
Okay.
After when I get off stage, I wrap it around my body and I put it under my
Oh, wow.
armpit so
Okay.
that people do
Do
end up
step on it,
stepping
right?
on
I
it.
can
Yeah.
imagine. I thought I saw your partner, the wife, almost step on it that just last night, like
Oh, maybe.
like just before you left the station, that first scene.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Right.
It is something to be aware of. We learned the choreography without the tails on, and then we had to add rehearsal tails, and basically it would
and it's
change.
still not the same, right?
There's a whole new tail choreography. It's like when do you grab the tail?
Right.
There's an added layer of physicality that you have to build in because you have this very long tail.
And it moves in relation to how you move, right? And there's like a secondary, like it moves in like different tiers almost, like with different. So you have to be aware of how it's moving in some ways.
For sure.
Right?
With anything that's turning and spinning on a stage with multiple performers, it's a concern that it will fly up and hit people.
Right.
So you try to avoid that as much as possible. Sometimes it's unavoidable. I mean, sometimes I miss it still, but
right. But it's secure enough in case someone steps on it for it not to come off, right? I hope.
Oh yeah, I get yes back. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, like, how much time do you have to rehearse with something like that? Like even with Anna and Christoph on that bridge, you don't get into the technicalities of it on the rehearsal floor until you get into the theater.
Yeah.
So like just basically your techs like 4 weeks.
They had the opportunity to work on it in Denver because it's the same.
Right.
It's the same set piece, and then they had the opportunity to work on it here in New York as well. But it takes a lot of time. It takes up a large time of tech because it is something so specific and so. And like you said, you can only start practicing on it when you're in the theater. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys spend a lot of time in the theater.
We spend a lot of time, yeah.
Okay, so in terms of physique, like, I'm wondering when you step into an audition, like, is it a requirement for you to be like this fit? I mean, you were, for Greatest Showman, like,
yeah.
Like, how, like, I guess like your past two roles do show off your body quite a bit. How do you audition for stuff like that? Do you walk in without a shirt already, or is it a requirement that's,
No.
in the brief?
For this project, I was in my final audition. I was in for the ensemble,
right? And
I was in to cover 2 other roles.
Okay.
I had the material for other parts in the show,
right?
And they were having I don't think they were trying to find the right puzzle piece for Pabbie,
right?
And right before I went in to sing After We Danced All Day, I was given the Pabbie material to work on as well. Okay. So I went in and kind of did a cold read of the first take.
Wow.
And then we all left that day and they called me right away on the street. And they're like, can you come back and work this material? So I went back and I worked all afternoon with the associate director and a small team from the creative team and from Disney, and then had about an hour to kind of review everything, and then came back to audition it for Michael and the entire team. And in that course of it, we had hours of a work session on this material alone.
Right.
And there was they did say to me, they asked me if I would be comfortable doing a role that didn't have a shirt.
Right. And
I said, of course. And I was willing to do the material with my shirt off for the audition if it was going to help me. So I was
interesting.
Yeah. So it did happen in the audition. They're not allowed to ask it, but
it did happen.
I'd been filming The Greatest Showman as the strongman, and I was staying in great shape. And I think we finished like April 1st.
Right.
And right as we were finishing, I had my final callback for this. The schedule worked out miraculously.
Right.
So I was more than willing to be like,
Disney magic.
I've been playing the strongman. I'm more than willing to do this scene with my shirt off. And then the minute we finished the movie, I thought I could go off working out hard and like go off my diet, and then I get a call like the next week, and I'm back on.
So because of you, Tim Hughes, the rest of the troll, what do you call them?
The hidden folk.
The hidden folk.
Yeah.
Are also topless, right? It's because of that decision that like were they initially gonna go like, is it gonna be old Pabbie or like more like with robes and stuff, or is it gonna be this cool look thing, or like is that what you were workshopping? They weren't sure. The
original concept for it kind of stemmed from the opening that we did in Denver,
right?
And it used to include a large very, very large cape, and
Okay.
then out of kind of the earth, I would rise up
Right.
wearing this huge cape, and then the cape wouldn't be ripped off.
Right.
So it was kind of the nod to the movie with
Right,
the cape, and then becoming something different.
Oh,
And
right.
kind of the first element of surprise is what they were going for.
I would say
But-
that's really kind of cool. It's like almost like you created Pabbie. I would say like you had first dips in the creation the creation process, and now all Pabbies would have to have that
For
requisite.
sure.
That's crazy.
For sure, yeah. And now Pabbie's have to dance.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Good job, Tim.
Yeah,
Really
thanks.
good. I'm curious. That screen at the back. I'm always asking. Is it LED?
I believe so.
usually-
Yeah.
Because usually, like it's so clear. It's like HD almost, and you can't get that on projection. And usually the lights also wash it out. I'm always curious
Yeah.
to see if it's LED. You know,
Finn, who does the video design,
right?
is amazing and works brilliantly and in amazing collaboration with Natasha, who does the lights. But I don't know the specifics of what that screen is.
Right.
I would assume it's
LED.
LED, yeah.
Right.
I would assume that. I mean, that's the highest technology for video around, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Yeah,
that that's
I mean,
what they have.
And even the stage floor and the proscenium and like all
And
of
all
that
the
is,
all the
is
wings.
brilliant.
Yeah.
It comes right onto the audience at points. Also
Yeah.
some of the staging. Awesome. Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to add about the show before we?
That's probably FedEx or something.
That was mine.
Oh.
Frozen Lottery did not win.
You just saw it last night.
I know, but I'm a crazy Disney fan.
That's
That's why I have a
amazing.
YouTube channel and everything.
Yes.
It's insane. Okay, so now we're going to the more hardcore questions
Okay.
about the industry. This is fun for the actors, I guess, or people who are interested. Like highs and lows, right? Acting career, like I would imagine. But right now, I would say you're on a pretty much of a high.
I'm the luckiest I've ever been.
And how do you're so grounded, Tim. Like I feel like you're so genuine and you're so grounded, and you know you haven't changed, and it's so easy to get swept up. How do you stay grounded?
God, that's a really good question. I think.
Or why are you grounded? Maybe you just don't even try. Like you know, like.
I mean, I think it has been instilled in me from my family dynamic and how I was raised. The importance of what's real and what grounds you is family and really solid relationships, and that's what's steady in a business that's not steady at all.
Yep.
So I think thankfully I've had wonderful support from my entire family, and I think that helps ground me and allowed me to kind of pursue this to begin with.
Right.
And to remember to maintain that balance between this is what I do for a living and this is my career.
Right.
That can be a very crazy industry that fluctuates and goes back and forth with a lot of highs and lows,
Yeah.
but that doesn't have to be the case for my entire life.
Yeah.
So to maintain that balance, I think has helped keep me solid and keep me grounded and the same. You know,
Right.
a lot of the times it can go to people's heads.
It can. I mean, I guess what I'm talking about is the attention. You know, like.
Yeah.
Like, how do you regard that attention? Is it something you see as, you know, this is nice, but it's, you know, it's also, I don't want to say superficial, but it's also, it's not something you should ground yourself in, like, because it comes and goes, and it's not something you put your worth in. I feel like you can appreciate someone's respect for your craft, but it's not something that you would chase after, I would imagine, right?
For sure, it's not a need.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's not necessary. It's all part of the extra bonuses of you know, the feedback, the fans. It's all part of the like whipped cream and cherry of the sundae. It's just the added bonuses of it all.
Right.
But by no means do I need that or do I seek that attention. But if it happens and when it is happening, it's wonderful and rejuvenating and can be fulfilling, but it's not what I need to fulfill myself.
Right. But how do you like sieve out? I mean, at some point, if you get a lot of attention, you'd probably have to start to choose also, like, you know, how you spend your time and everything.
Oh yeah, there's a
Is that a difficult balance?
self-preservation aspect
Right.
of it. that you have to find.
Right.
Yeah, there are days when there will be nights when I can't go and spend 20 minutes at the stage door signing autographs because for whatever health purposes, for whatever personal reasons.
Yeah, and people need to understand that. Okay, that's so important. And people get so angry so easily. I feel like I can't talk enough about how sometimes actors just we're human beings. We need our space and things like that.
Yeah.
So
people might not be feeling well. It's never personal that we can't go or we don't go to a stage door. I mean, like I said, it's all wonderful. The response is the response for Frozen has been incredible in just this first week.
Right.
But there are times when there has to be an element of self-preservation in order to do that second show.
Absolutely.
In order to maintain that balance, that can't always happen.
Yeah, I mean, being in a show, you must think about the show the whole time. It's like, oh, I have a show tonight. This is only so much I can do before that show. Maybe I'll hit the gym, that kind of thing. And you're kind of like protecting yourself for the show. So it's a heavy responsibility.
For sure. Like, I'm having coffee right now and I know at like a certain time in the day I need to stop drinking coffee because it dries me out.
Right.
So I can have it in the morning and then I'll have to stop for the rest of the day.
Right, because it dries you out, like the singing and things like that. Wow.
Very odd.
Crazy. So, can you tell me like some of the challenges or the harder times you face, like in order to encourage people that it's not just all what they see in terms of, when you see someone on stage, it's like, oh, they must have a great life. Not that you don't have a great life, but like there's more reality to being a performer than just that. Like for example, Chaplin, what was that like? Like the guarantee of a Broadway show, but yet it closed soon after it opened, didn't it?
Yeah. We ended up opening officially in early September and we closed early January.
So what kind of challenges or difficulties did you face? I mean, like, because then you would probably stop auditioning for things, thinking that this would last for a while. The whole like for every show you kind of like put your life aside for it, and then sometimes
you have to kind of dive in head first and hope for the best. I think the greatest luxury that we as a company at the St. James right now have is some consistency. We know that we're doing a show that has had tremendous success as a movie and working for a company that has had tremendous success turning their films into Broadway shows.
Right.
So the consistency of it is the greatest luxury right now. But when it's not that, I mean, that's the most difficult thing to the most difficult hurdle really is understanding that you can have this great opportunity and be at the top echelon of what we consider our theater industry as an actor doing a Broadway show, and that might only last for 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. What gets you through it though, like the tough times?
I think in understanding of why, for me personally, why I do what I do, like what inside me motivates me to dive into material, to be a storyteller and want to be doing theater, to want to work with people on this kind of intimate, very personal level, like the collaboration of it all. I think all of the reasons why I find passion and excitement in the theater industry is what has helped maintain me kept me in this business.
Right.
People always say, like, if you think you can find that in someplace else, then maybe you should go do that, because there'll be benefits to doing that. One being probably consistency, which is, like I said, the biggest con to our industry. But it's just it's always a good reminder to use those moments when a show does end and the time in between to kind of analyze why we have chosen to be in this industry.
Right. Good advice. How secure, like I know for, say for example, The Lion King, I understand that the ensemble have a 6-month at least sort of job security, but the leads or features seem to be changeable. Is that something?
I think contractually with our union, most of the time ensemble members are on a 6-month rider.
Right.
And principals usually are contracted for a year at a time.
Oh, okay. Right.
So they with no guarantee that there will be a renewal after that.
For both, for ensemble and
Ensemble has a clause in their contract that they have a 4-week out. So, for example, Frozen, I think the contracts for the ensemble are all a year instead of 6 months.
Right.
And then after that, most of them can decide when they're going to leave the show, as opposed to principals who they have to renegotiate every year.
Oh wow.
And kind of have to be asked back.
Right. Oh, that's what my friend was talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. All right. So now on to The Greatest Showman, which I'm sorry I haven't caught, and I want to.
Oh my God! Hurry! It's going to be in theaters a couple weeks longer.
So yeah, that, and you bought an art book.
Yeah, there was actually an amazing pop-up bookstore in
pop-up bookstore.
A pop-up store in New York that featured The Greatest Showman for about 3 months this past winter, and that's where I got this.
Can you tell us anything about that? Had you done short films or films before? And
I did one small independent horror film.
Right.
And then this happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
What was the title of the horror film?
It was originally when we.
It's on IMDb, right?
Yeah. When we filmed it was called. What was it called? Bloodline, and then there was that Netflix show that took over, and not took over, but also was called that.
Okay.
So out of the need to change the name, it's now called The Dark Right.
Okay.
And I don't know the schedule for it, but supposedly it will come out sometime this year. No,
okay.
I know, but I filmed it before.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So that transition, was it shocking? I know when I had to film for a TV, much less a movie, everything else is, because it's so up close, you have to just really tone everything down. For a theater person, I don't know, was that in the least bit shocking to you? Was it a big transition?
Yeah. I mean, I think that
And were they all nice about it? And
yeah, I had been auditioning on camera for TV and film, and in watching some of my audition tapes, I kind of learned the differences and learned the dynamic shift between theater and TV and film. So I was kind of aware of it going in. But it's definitely different. It's definitely a change.
Right.
And dynamically, you're right. It's you can go to a 10. The expectation on the stage is usually live at a 10 for the most part. And for TV film, internally it has to be a 10. But for somebody coming from theater, it feels like a 2. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Even the talking, I was told I could just whisper, and to me, really, can anyone even hear me? This whispering thing is apparently the mic picks it up. So.
I did a scene in The Greatest Showman when we were sitting in the circus ring, and there was every time we filmed, I could not hear one of the actresses say her lines.
Right.
I just I knew it was her line, I knew she was talking, but I could not hear what she said, and I was like, oh my God, she's so quiet. Yeah. And in the film, it's beautiful.
It's crazy.
It's just subtle and understated and a great delivery, and I was like, lesson learned.
So, would you say theater's your first love or TV?
I love the experience of both.
Okay.
I think that theater still has an element of community and collaboration that's a little bit tighter than and closer than film. But at the end of the day, I think both are very fulfilling, and the experiences I've had in both have been great.
For film, you don't, I guess, spend as much time with the cast rehearsing scenes?
Yeah, you can be very isolated. In theater, I feel like there's the backstage, there's a lot of rehearsal time, everybody's in the same room, and in TV film, you show up for a very small rehearsal, which you basically self-rehearsed.
Wow. Possibly
in your trailer on your own.
Right, wow.
And then you show up and do maybe a read-through of lines, and then you go for it on camera.
Oh, wow. So the rehearsal is just before you go for it?
Most of the time, yeah. Because it's such a small time, and you have the opportunity to try different things in the number of takes that you have.
Right.
And the weird thing is, then it's up to the director to kind of decide what they want to make the film.
Yeah, I know. You don't, until you see the film, you really don't know.
You don't know
what your beats, how your beats have been shifted.
You have no control over it, which is crazy. Which we just have to give it. You have to give everything every time.
Right. Before we go to the challenge bit at the end, one last question. That tiger, I mean, how tame was it? You came really close to that tiger taking that picture with...
It's not a real tiger.
It's not a real tiger? What? Does everyone who watched the movie know that?
I don't know.
Okay. Are you supposed to say that though?
I think it's fine. I mean, it
Okay.
was a stuffed tiger. Yeah.
I thought you did like a Jason Scott Lee in Jungle Book where he like went up
Oh yeah,
close
yeah.
to a
No,
tiger and
it looks great though, right?
It looks
Yeah.
real. It looks really great.
Even there's another scene where I'm just like lifting a weight in the background, and there was like an elephant right above me.
Right.
And
that's
that they turned into just a CGI
What?
elephant. It was just another like stuffed creature.
Oh wow.
During the filming of it, and then they just animated it in the movie.
Oh nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not real, but you bought it.
Yeah, definitely did. Okay, challenge. 2 challenges.
Okay.
I'm gonna need some space, so
Oh god.
just here. I hope this is in frame. Okay, I'm just gonna put this here for now.
Okay.
I'm gonna lose this, but I just want to see how strong the strongman is.
Oh yeah.
So first, arm wrestling.
Oh goodness. Okay.
I'm gonna lose. Well, 1 hand and 2 hands to see. Like I don't know. Okay.
This way?
Yeah, it's right hand, right?
Yeah.
Oh, just look at that. Okay.
We're ready? You
Yeah.
tell me when.
And yeah. Oh my god. Nice. Were you just giving me chances at the start? Could you have just?
I
like,
was just gonna see how
Okay.
much you had to work with.
Okay. And now, well, was that even it? Okay, so now I'm gonna push this back a little bit.
Okay.
So cut two. I'm gonna show you a clip of me singing "Love's an Open Door" with Inch.
Can I ask you something crazy?
Sure.
Can you carry me?
I don't know, but I'll hug you.
Aww.
Can you carry me?
Oh.
Inch obviously couldn't. She hugged me. So I'm just gonna.
Here?
I like.
You mean pick you up?
Like, can you actually toss me?
Oh yeah.
Well, just see how.
Here.
Okay, so I don't know if this is gonna be.
Okay, let's try it.
Okay.
You mean
Never
like basket toss?
Like, yeah, I've never been thrown before,
Okay,
but
let's
not
try
too
it.
high. But like,
Yeah.
to see how easy that is. Am I gonna regret this? Okay.
Are we tossing it this way, or you want to
Like, I don't know. Like, how you carry Anna?
Yeah, here, just
How do you carry Anna?
like this.
Oh my gosh.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks, Tim. Challenge
That's
done.
amazing.
Well done.
Challenge.
Strong man.
Yes.
Indeed. Thank you, Tim. Thanks
Thank
so
you so
much,
much.
for coming on the show.
Of course.
And I'll catch you next time. Bye.